Good morning. So I haven't been making a lot of videos because I have been in a state of being really upset with a lot of things that are happening in my life. I have cried almost every morning and night because I am a very strong-willed and I feel strong person, but sometimes you're so frustrated by things in life that all you can do is cry, like cry tears of frustration. You know, I'm not the kind of person who's like, life is not fair, because I think that everybody goes through ill treatment in this life and everyone's trauma is different. I needed to vent this morning, so I came on to talk to myself, which I guess I have a YouTube channel, so I can do that, but if I cry, I apologize. I feel that I'm frustrated by a few things this morning, and sometimes you have to like acknowledge your frustrations to get past them. Well, most of the time you have to, because then you'll just be frustrated forever, and I'm the kind of person that's like, I don't want to be frustrated forever. I'm driving to work and it's raining, and I woke up late because I had this horrible headache, so I'm late for work. And which is fine. I mean, I don't think my job really cares because I always get my work done anyways. And I'm staying actually late because we have a staff meeting, so it works. My hours are fine. But I went to my grandparents' apartment last night and I saw the state which they are still living, which is so not healthy for, you know, my grandparents. And I just came home so furious, and I still feel mad this morning, and I put on some praise and worship music because I have not given my, oh, here's Roscoe's up here, which is the place that Rashika and I always go dancing, but I have not given my mind to God, and that's why I do believe that there is a God, because if there was no God, like, I would just probably go insane, you know, or there was no answer, you know. Not that you need that to be sane, because I do feel that there is a certain level of, you know, you take things as they are, and that's, you know, how it is, and I totally respect that, and that's where I agree with a lot of atheist people. But I had not been openly, like, giving God my burdens and my stress, because I am mad about a certain situation, a few situations, and I was triggered last night, and sometimes I feel very lonely in my thoughts, and I know that's like, my sister and I were talking about this, and I do feel like I'm spiraling down, but I'm trying to stay afloat, because that is what you have to do. You have to be resilient, but I'm having a hard time right now because I am so frustrated by a situation that I can do nothing about. And and it's also hard because sometimes I really need a day off to think. And I just took this vacation day with my sister because we were like acknowledging our mother going missing and all that stuff. And I still feel like when you come back to reality, sometimes it really sucks. It really sucks. And I know that my sadness and my anger will go away. But I know that you have to sometimes like say that you're angry and frustrated, because if you don't say it, then it won't come out. And I'm a naturally very chipper person, very happy. But I'm very mad at the fact that sometimes you have to make decisions that are really difficult. And I think I've been like angry at the way of life, which is many people call God, and like the situations and the choices that people make, to the point that I have like repressed it. I have repressed it, but not as much, because I have acknowledged a lot of this stuff in the past. But today I realized yesterday that I have to allow myself to be angry at things that are just not right, you know, because then if you don't get angry, then you'll never be called to action and you'll never do anything. And so I'm allowing myself to be angry so that I can start doing things about this situation, about a few situations, because my grandfather's coming home from the hospital, needs a place to stay that is like not unkempt and that he can relax there, and there's none of that now. And that's why like small little things like relationship issues and all this other stuff doesn't compare like to these bigger issues, you know, because even with and the thing is, like, yesterday when I was in the sanctuary at this church that I work at now, I go in there and I pray and I listen to this song, and some people I know might not pray and might not listen to things, but that does bring me solace and peace. Like, I do feel very good when I pray, and I feel great when I sit and just center myself, because like now I'm centering myself even though I'm late for work. Like, there's something about the rain and like the fact that I'm driving, it's giving me something to focus on instead of my thoughts. I keep a lot of stuff in my head and I have to get them out, and I'm listening to the song called I Will Pour Water, and it's about like humbling yourself and God and all that stuff, which I don't know if all is theologically sound, but I do think there is something to, I know this video is all over the place and I apologize, but I know there is something to centering yourself. And I should have gone that way. Oh my gosh, there's a Turkish restaurant right there. Istanbul Grill, I'll have to go there. Centering yourself and acknowledging that things are messed up and that things are, excuse my language, fucked up, but that you have to quiet yourself and just let go of it. And that is something that I have a really, really, really hard time doing, because I have this control issue with my emotions. And everybody has control issues with their emotions, but that comes from me having to control my emotions from a very, very, very young age to survive. And so those skills have stayed with me until I've been older. And so now I'm like trying to give up my emotions, but it's so hard. And but yeah, I'm sorry, I was talking about something else about the sanctuary. The other thing is, like, I feel like very bad about the situation, but I'm also thinking about other people. You know, as I was sitting in the sanctuary listening to music and talking to God and talking to these, you know, to myself too, I was thinking about all these people that are going through things, like the state of the country, you know, the fact that there are people, my grandfather now has cancer and all that stuff, but there are people who have worse cancer than my grandfather. There are people that are worse, who have more mental illness than my grandmother, and it's like, I dwell on these things because the state of the world, okay, this is diversity, so we want to make a left here. The state of the world, let's keep going. We're not going to make the light because this guy didn't go. Which is fine, it's raining. But the state of the world is so messed up. And I know a lot of people actually have this discussion that crime has gone down, which I do think that crime has gone down. We're not flogging people and stoning them, even though I'm sure that that's still happening in some places. And we're not whipping, even though it's happening in some places. I'm talking about the American perspective. I do think that my biggest issue with the world now is that we're lacking community. We're lacking people coming together to like make a change about what's happening in the world and like to make things better. I think that people don't come together as much. Community is something that we are. I'm trying to drink all this water in one day. It's 1.5 liters. I've been successful at it, and I've been lacking for the past week. Successful in the past, but I really like this water for some reason. And I know it's not just because it's from Whole Foods, because I hate buying stuff from Whole Foods because I'm like, you are too expensive, but it just tastes so good, the water. Back to what I was saying. I know that, Wrightwood, let's turn here. The fact that technology is all over the place and that people are like on Instagram, on Facebook, on WhatsApp. That's why like I've deleted the apps for a while of Facebook and Instagram. I still have Messenger on my phone, and I still have YouTube because I learn a lot from YouTube, and I feel like the video and all the information that I get from there is very interesting and informative. But all of this technology that we have is causing us to not be communal. And this is something that I think about all the time with all the crime, all these different things in the world, because even though I see these murderers and criminals, and that's the word I was looking for, a general word, criminals, I still feel bad for them, because I wondered, have they lacked community in their lives to make them the way that they are? I don't know. Like, oh, Orchard, this is where I work, but it's down that way, but I have to go straight. I think that people are lacking love in this world, and it has caused a lot of people to do horrible things, you know, like even my family. I do believe, and even me, like I do believe, but I'll talk about my family, that my family has been negligent towards me, because a lot of the family members I had were lacking love in some certain way that's manifested into, you know, a younger generation, aka my sister and myself. So every morning I think about this stuff, and that's why, like, I'm very interested in God and theology and all these different things, and churches coming together, and not just churches, but like faith groups, ethical humanists, you know, religion in the wider sense, people coming together, people who believe in Buddhism, Hinduism, Jainism. You know, I want people to come together, because I don't care what people believe in. Like, I think that religion is a way, I mean, I do care what people believe in the sense that if what you believe in is making you a better person, if it is not making you a better person, and not forcing you to see people in their trauma and be present with them, then I don't feel that what you're doing is adding to the human experience. Because what we have in this world now is a catastrophe where people are, like I said, with all of this, why is he not going? With all of this technology splitting us apart, the political rhetoric that's, you know, really messed up, people who don't stand up for other people, you know, the orphan, the widow, all these different things. I mean, what's the point of being in a group that doesn't advocate for these things? What are you adding to humanity? But I do still think about these things a lot. And even in these times, I think about my grandparents right now, my grandfather having cancer, and like my own mental problems that I have with depression, which I have to combat daily, you know. And then I think about poverty. It would be so cool to me if all these religious groups, all these people of faith came together and were all available for people in need, you know. I would be so, like, inspired by that, and that visual in my mind of interfaith in that way, not projecting each other's religious beliefs, but coming together like that, it really gives me like hope. And I stopped crying because I think about this, and it just like triggers something in my mind of like, yes. My only problem right now is, even if you don't believe in Jesus, you know, being the Son of God, which I don't even know about that for myself historically. I know theologically and biblically that is accurate, but a lot of things in the Bible I don't believe in. Because a lot of people think the Bible is the literal word of God, and it's not. And I've never thought that. I mean, when I was younger, I might have, but I don't think that I actually thought that in my mind. I think I was just conditioned to think that, because some of the things I read, I'm like, this can't be true. But the reason why I brought this up is because I do think that if I was born another time and I had the Quran in my life, that maybe the Quran would be what I believed in. And that's how I knew God, through the Muslim experience, and through the way of Islam. Like, I don't know. So, but I don't know if Jesus is, I'm wondering if Jesus is the best way for me to experience and to understand, like, God. Because I do see all the commonalities between these famous prophets and people that have, you know, influenced people for generations and many, many, many years. Yeah, I don't know. Can I turn here? Nope, I can't, because there's a car there. I know people say Jesus is the way, the truth, and the life, but I do think that the ways of Jesus is the way, the truth, and the life. Not necessarily Jesus himself, because I think Jesus was just a man who came to earth, or who was a part of earth, and that did things to emulate the ways of God and was documented for that reason. And so, but I don't believe that God would be like, worship me, worship my only son, because God, like, it would totally be contradictory. If God is like a loving God who's humble and like God is love, why would we be worshiping this big being, you know, and never feeling good about ourselves? That's why, like, when I think about Jesus being the Son of God and the ways that a lot of evangelical conservatives, especially people who believe in like a lot of religious fundamentalism in the conservative way, like I said before, when they talk about Jesus in that way, I'm like, I don't know, because it doesn't make sense to me. It's like totally contradictory. But I don't know if people don't want to acknowledge that or what. But yeah, but I have a lot of thoughts on this, and I only bring this up because my suffering, you know, my suffering is not just my suffering. You know, I know that I have to start opening myself up, which is why I reached out to a close group of friends that we all hang out, and I was like, I'm having a hard time, because I have a hard time doing that. I don't reach out a lot because I fear that I just don't like to impose my negativity onto people, but that's the human experience. You have to be present with people. You have to, because if you're not, then you're not human. Anyways, I'm at work now. I'm about to park my car and go into the office, but pray for me, people. Mostly pray that I can see the light every day, even though it's hard. And I don't want to become negative or go into a bad mental space because of what I'm going through. So, love you all. I hope that you have a good day. I pray for everybody on here, and I send you all good thoughts and vibes, whoever watches this. And be good to everybody around you. Bye. Sorry that I cried earlier.